Good Monday morning, everybody. This is Grace, and pardon my again, still with my voice. I realized I have a allergy. I'm having an allergy attack, and it'll probably last all month, for a month, I should say. But anyway, I want to tell a little a story. Hopefully, I can reduce it some about an experience with it's Halloween today. So some a ghost story, and you hear my dog in the background in case you're wondering what the noise is. But it goes kind of like this. I have to give a little background to it. It was probably, well, actually, that was my dog. Actually, it was 2004, and I had been dating a man during part of my separation and then divorce, and I was divorced in 2001. But this man, Michael, I dated him for 4.5 years. And then he had to move from Texas to, well, I lived in Texas too, and he had to move to California, and then from California he had to move to Corpus Christi, Texas area, and I'm still in the Dallas area. And so we were no longer a couple. And when he moved to California, 2004. Now 2007, he and I remained friends. We talked to one another on the phone, and we'd known one another for a while. And what happened then was in 2007, I hadn't heard from him for a while. And his one day I called and his mother answered the phone. And I don't know remember all the details. Remember, I'm not feeling all that well, but um, his mother answered the phone, and I told her I hadn't heard from him, and she said that he's in the hospital and he wasn't going to make it, and they had to come to the decision when to let him go. And what had happened was he had gone in for a surgery, I think on his lower intestine or something I don't remember details, but he the surgeon nicked his bladder, and that was it basically. And they said that he would die a bad death if they didn't let him go. And so she told me that they were going to make that decision. So um, it wasn't for, I don't know, maybe a day or two when I heard from her again. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. In 2007, I saw him after then. Like once a year, he had to come to Dallas, and so I saw him that year in February in 2007. Now he had moved in 2004. The dog is just noisy, but anyway, so 2007, I saw him in February, and then this was in November, late October. This time of 2007, and I was already dating somebody else, and Stephen, and 2007, that November, like I said, October, November, I went to with Stephen to a fishing barge, is what they call it, fishing barge, and it was in Lewisville, Texas. And I was at that point on the barge. I was by myself, and I felt like all of a sudden, when I was there, I was saying, "Oh, I'm going to." I was telling myself this that I was going to fish for Michael because Michael and I had a joke over the phone. Of course, it was a joke about me fishing, and he always loved to take something from some movie and kind of laugh and joke about it with me, like saying things like, step away from the bunny, and nobody will get hurt or something like that. And that of just because you're paranoid, that doesn't mean that they're not out to get you. He would just take little movie things from movies. And so this one may have been one that he got from a movie. He asked me, he said, you're going fishing, then what are you doing? Catching them with a bat? And he thought it was hilarious. So, having heard that he was going to pass and everything, I remember telling myself I was going to catch a bunch of fish for him, like that. Just, you know how it is. But what I didn't know at the time was I was sick. Okay, I was coming down with what I think I have now. Something similar. I didn't know it. I was on this fishing barge, and out in the, outside and all. And then I felt this. When I was thinking that, I felt this like really strong wind come through, and I thought to myself, that's Michael. He's passing like that. And little did I know, I was sick. I was getting sick. I'll be okay. So after fishing and everything on that fishing barge, I drove Stephen back to his house, and I went back to where I was staying, which was I just moved back to the Dallas area. I'd been staying with my mom for a while to help her out. She had dementia. It was, kind of like my turn. And I moved into a hotel suite until I got a permanent job and knew where I was going to be working, so I would move near there. And so I was in this hotel suite, and I was all by myself. Like I said, I was divorced, and I was all by myself, and nobody. I'm not a type of person that when I get sick, I usually don't tell people, so it's unusual. I'm telling people, video. I usually don't tell people, or I like to be alone. I don't like people, around. And so when I got back home, I don't know if it was that night or when, but I got really sick, really very sick. And it could have been, that it turned to bronchitis or something, and I had a high fever. And the biggest thing is I had a really high fever when I was sick. Whatever night it was, I think it was that night, I got so sick and with a high fever, and I was lying in bed, and do you know the show Bewitched when what are their names? Samantha and Adora was the mother's name, would become like ghosts, like almost invisible, and they would hover over Darren and watch him like at work or something. And I saw something like that. Okay, I was lying in bed, sick with a high fever, and by myself, and on the right lower above the right lower part of the bed, behind it, I saw this kind of, you know, whatever apparition, a ghost, and it was Michael. Okay, remember he just passed, and he was floating, and he was saying, "I'm here. I'm watching over you. You're going to be okay. It's not your time. This kind of thing. You're going to live through this." And because I was so, high fever and all that, and I'm just saying, okay, I'm just, you know, so many things going on at the time, and for I don't know how many days it was, this ghost followed me around, and but before that night, that when I saw that apparition, something even stranger happened. Okay, pardon me, I'm trying to do this video between coughing and sneezing fits. Anyway, that night I saw this, ghost of Michael, and he was telling me, I'm going to live through this bad, flu, and I thought it was a flu and fever and all that, and I was lying on the bed and I was thinking, I'm cold, I'm real cold, and the next thing I knew, this ghost of Michael descended and laid flat out, like over me, flat out, and then it just became part of my body from my head all the way to my toes. Just like it was part of me. Like you see, when they show like people dying, their soul leaves them. Well, this was his soul coming into mine, to my body, from head to toe, and I slept. And like I said, after that, that was the strangest part because to me, well, all of it was strange to me. But after that, just I was starting to feel better. It took a while. I was pretty sick, and it could be that I wasn't taking my diabetes medicines right because I'm so sick, and or even my blood pressure medication right because I was so sick, not eating right, whatever it was. But I felt that his ghost was following me around until one day I felt better, and I remember I was standing in the kitchen and I was feeling better, and Michael's ghost was always with me, and I told Michael's ghost, I said, "Okay, Michael, I'm getting better. I'm going to live, and now you can go on and pass, totally pass, cross over kind of thing." And now I don't believe in ghosts, so this was pretty weird. But once I got better, I was doing some temporary jobs and everything. And once I started to get better, I went back to got better. I no fever and all. I went back to work and temporary. And I called one of my sisters on the way there, and I told her about it. And see, my view was this: I had a high fever. Michael had just passed. I was by myself, and I was having hallucinations because of the high fever. And hers it was about basically bereavement and what people think they see whenever somebody's just passed away. But mine was more on I had a high fever, you know. And then that was basically it. I only experienced something like that one other time, and it was because of a medication that I found out I was allergic to. That was I think that was 7 years later, and I found out that I didn't find out until 2.5 years after that, that I was allergic to this medication. But yeah, medication induced that kind of thing. Anyway, that's my story. I know it doesn't sound too, up for Halloween, but oh my goodness, I am really not feeling well. So anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.